Kakadosh Boker or Daf Yomi Masechet Batra Daf Bava Mudalev 76A1. We were just speaking about a Braita where the Braita just says that the Sfina is going to be acquired, a boat is going to be acquired with Meshicha. And Rabbi Natan comes and he says a boat and a Shtar Chov. Shtar Chov is a debt document. It's going to be acquired with Meshicha and with a Shtar. So the Gemara asks, who's talking about a Shtar Chov here? Imagine I'm talking about a boat, debt document. Says the Gemara, we're lacking part of it. This is the way that you're supposed to read it. Sefina nikne b'meshicha. The sefina is going to be acquired with meshicha. Ve'otiyot b'mesira, but a debt document is going to be with mesira, with giving over. Rabbi Natan says, sefina ve'otiyot nikne b'meshicha v'shtar. He says, no. Sefina and otiyot are going to be acquired also with meshicha and also with shtar. So says the Gemara, shtar l'sefina lamli. Why do I have a shtar for sefina? Imagine I'm going to have a document for the boat. It's metaltalim. Something which is a metaltalim, which means is movable object. So all you need is meshicha. Why do you need now shtar and documents? Like, what's going on over here? So he says, but really, this is what it means to do. Means to say, Sfina nikne b'meshicha ve'otiyot v'mesira. The sfina is going to be acquired with meshicha and the otiyot v'mesira. Rabbi Natan says, Sfina b'meshicha ve'otiyot b'shtar. The sfina is going to be acquired with meshicha and the otiyot is going to be with a shtar.
I'm a little bit confused.
Basically, what we did was that we switched it. We said the sfina is with meshicha, and sfina is the boat with meshicha, with pulling. Otiyot b'mesira, that's a debt document with giving over, handing over. So until here we're clear. That was the original. Rabbi Natan comes and he says, sfina is with meshicha, pulling, and the otiyot, which is a debt document, with a document.
What do you mean? With document? How do you?
Meaning, with a sfina, it's already enough meshicha. Just like the Tanakama says. But otiyot, which is debt documents, besides mesira, besides giving it over, it's also a document. You could also use a document. So here it actually says it, that the document is lehosif. He's adding on the Tanakama that you could also give over a document as well. Which means, right, you could also have a shtar on it.
Combination.
Yes, a combination. Okay? Sfina b'meshicha, hainu Tanakama. It says one second, but Sfina with meshicha, that was the Tanakama. The Tanakama already said that you could take the boat and just pull it. Yep. The only machloka was you have to pull it completely out of its place. Exactly how far, but that's it. So he says, you're right. The machloka was to do with Rav and Shmuel, meaning how far do you have to actually pull it? So it says, no. Everyone holds either like Rav or Shmuel. So what is the machloka then? Beotiyot, when you do with debt documents. Right. This is what it means to say. Rabbi Natan Tanakama, when Rabbi Natan comes and he says to the Tanakama Sfina, but Daim Mudina Lecha, for sure you're going to admit that the debt document, right, is I'ika Shtar. If there's a document, then yes, right? So if not, it's not going to be acquired. With Plugta Dahani Tanai, and there's a Machloka Tanaim. The Tanya was learned in a Braita. Listen carefully. Otiyot Niknet Nikno B'mesira. Debt documents can be acquired with giving over. These are the words of Rabbi. Chachamim can say Ben Katav, right? Velo Masar. Whether you wrote a document and you didn't hand it over, or whether you handed it over and you didn't write it, right? That means you gave him a shtar chov, but you didn't write a shtar mechida on it, that you sold it. Lo kana, you don't acquire it. So you have to write a document that you sold it, plus give over a shtar chov. There's two aspects here. If I'm going to sell you a house, I have to write the shtar mechida. Shtar mechida is I sold you a property. Now you're going to write to me a debt document that you owe me the money because you didn't actually give me the money. So that's called a shtar chov. It's not enough one without the other. We need both. We need that I write the debt, I write the sale. How do you call this? Like like the sale proof or the sale document, a document of sale plus a document of debt. You need both of them.
And hands over the promissory.
Exactly. That's the word. Promissory note. That's the best word. Promissory note. Because that means it's like a debt document. It was a promissory note. You have to give me. Okay? Fine. Okay. So, b'may ukimta sfina nami nikne. What he says, b'may ukimta karebi. Why are you saying that it's like Rabbi? Sfina nami tikne misira. Why can't you also just say that handing over the boat is already enough? Right? You told me that the boat, it has to be with meshicha, with pulling. Maybe it's only handing over. So it says the Tanya was willing to the Braita. Sfina nikne b'misira. Divra Rabbi, these are the words of Rabbi. Chachamim say that it's not going to be acquired. Ein Bava Mubet. 76b. Until you're going to pull it. You have to rent out its place. Meaning, I don't need to pull it. But right now it's in your property. So it's in your water. So what do? I rent out the water, right? Where the boat is. And now it becomes mine because I just rented it out.
Like Kinyanagav.
Exactly like Agav. Exactly. So he says, or like Chatzer, so he says, Lakashi, it's not a question. That all depends where it is. Where's the boat? If the boat is in a Reshut Rabim, it doesn't help. Meaning, what am I going to rent you out Reshut Rabim? I can't. It's not mine to rent out to you. So for there, you need obviously the Mesira and all these things. Here we're talking about that it's a simta, and therefore,
like
exactly. So therefore, I could actually come and rent it out to you, and then you're going to acquire it.
Do a little this on the side.
Yeah, exactly. Fine. So why do we say that we're talking about now the Reshut Rabim? Let's see the latter part of the Braita. The latter part of the Braita says you have to do Meshicha. If we're talking about Reshut Rabim, Mimanogir, who are you renting out to Reshut Rabim? Meaning the Meshicha does not help in a public property. The two, and furthermore, Meshicha Reshut Rabim Mikanya. Can you do Meshicha in the Reshut Rabim? He says Abaye and Rava, they both said Mesira is going to acquire whether in Reshut Rabim or a Chatzer Shena Sheshneim. But Meshicha is only going to be acquiring in a Simta or a Chatzer that belongs to both of them. Right? But it can't be in Reshut Rabim. And Hagbaa anywhere. Meaning like this. There's different forms of acquisitions. Hagbaa is picking up anywhere where you want. I could be in public. I could be in Publix. I could be in his house. If you give me something and I pick it up, I did Hagbaa, it's mine. Doesn't matter where I am in the world.
Well, there's problems like stealing. Like you have to.
No, even stealing Hagbaa did work, if you remember. And we said that when you pick it up, the only thing is if you're doing Meshicha, meaning you pull it out of the person's property, then no. Because then you have to get out of the property, that's Meshicha. But if you picked it up, right, the dragging is that's a Meshicha. So 1 minute, you're right, Rasha, but 1 second. So one more time. So Hagbaa, which is picking up the article, Bechol Makom, anywhere where you are, you acquire. You could be in my property, you could be in his property, you could be in your own property, you could be in a public property, anywhere where you want. Hagbaa kone bechol makom. You acquire anywhere. Mishicha, which is dragging, could only be acquired in a simta, which is like the side, what you said, the side street or the side, like the side area, recessed area, whatever it is, or in a chatzer that belongs to both of us, right? He says, but mesira could be acquiring in Reshut Rabim, or because mesira is I'm handing it over to you. So once I hand it over to you, now it's yours. We're in a public domain, but I handed it over to you. So you're doing Meshicha, but Meshicha has to be that you're pulling it in a place, but it has to be belonging to you. So says the Gemara, Mayad Shim Shachena, what are we talking about Meshicha? Right? Also, Mayad Shiskor Mekuma, Achigama, this is what he's saying. Ad Shiskor, right? He says, Ad Shim Shachena Reshut Rabim Simta, until you're going to pull it from the Reshut Rabim to the recessed area to the private area. Reshut Rabim Baalim, right? And if the Reshut Rabim, right? Sorry, if it's the Reshut Baalim, lo kanachi is kol mekuma. Let's say it's in a person's property. How do I do Meshicha? So he says, rent out the space. Tell him, listen, the cow or whatever it is right now, it's in the backyard. Let me rent out your backyard for you. I rent out the backyard. Now when I pull it, it's mine. So now it's mine. So says the Gemara, so why don't we just say, Lema Abai v'Rava? So why don't we say they both of them hold like Rabbi? So Rav Ashi is going to answer you. If he told him go acquire it, you're right. Here, what are we dealing with? That he told him go do meshicha and acquire it. He didn't tell him go strengthen yourself and acquire it. He said go do a meshicha. Yeah, pull it, which is meshicha. So more savar kpeda. One of them held that it was a kpeda that he has to mamash do meshicha, means he had to mamash pull it.
With handing over it all?
No, we're talking about meshicha, not mesira. More savar, and the other one holds mare makom hulo. He didn't actually tell him to pull it. He was showing him where it was. And he just told him, go do this. But not that he's makpid. He's not strict that it has to be in a certain form. Okay? So Amar Rav Papa comes and he says, if you're going to sell a document to your friend, meaning a debt document to your friend. So sometimes people sell, for example, nowadays there's a business out of it. You sell mortgages. Meaning there's a mortgage company, they take your mortgage, and then they sell it to another mortgage company. Right? Why? Because they don't want all the headaches of collecting every single month and all those things. So they come, they do the mortgage for you, and then they sell it off.
Secondary.
Yeah, secondary. They do that all the time. So the same thing. If you're going to come and sell your debt document to somebody else, right? It's the same concept. So he says, you have to write, you're acquiring the debt document, the promissory note, and all the shibudim in it. and all of the liens which also belong to it. So Amar Ravashi says, Aminita Lishmata Kamed Rav Kana, we said this in front of Kana. Aminita, and we said Tamad Katav Lehachi only because you wrote like that. Halo Katav, but if you didn't write it like that, Lokani, you didn't acquire it. The Chilatzura Pitzu Chut was He says, well, you have to come and use it as like a kakan or bakbuk. Amali says, yes, Latzur Velatzur. But coming after actually Mamash, you have to write. If he didn't write it, you didn't really do anything really. Bemet, the little piece of paper is that you could use it as a bottle cap. That's all that you need to do. There's nothing else. Okay? Fine. We continue now with Mikim